One of the all-time great Atlanta Braves, known by one syllable, Murph. Dale Murphy down here in spring training with the Braves. We take a look at some of his highlights when he was running wild across the National League, and we're thrilled to have Dale Murphy joining us this afternoon here at spring training. And Murph, you know, we want to get down to you, but there's just so many highlights from your playing days. We got to make sure we get through all of them.
Thank you.
First and foremost, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Wiley. Thanks, CJ.
Yeah,
it's great to be down here, and you know, this is probably the time of the season that most retired guys never get over is missing spring training, because it just started the season. Everything's, you know, good and warm and getting out of the snow, and so it's great to be here for a few days.
Well, it's great to have you. I got to believe it's a great privilege for the players that are in uniform to have you. Tell us a little bit about opportunities to talk with the current Brave staff.
Yeah, well, Walt found out that I was coming down, and he called me right back. I texted him and said, hey, I'm going to come down for a couple days, and then he called me right back. This is a couple months ago. He goes, hey, would love to have you talk to the hitters and, you know, have a little kind of hitters roundtable. So we got to talk to some of the guys this morning, and Chipper's here too. So we were bouncing things off, Chipper and I deferred to Chipper everything he said, so which was a smart move on my part. And I just told the guys to check out Chipper's highlights and do what he did. But, you know, it was fun. We talked about mental approach and mentally trying to figure out how to be mentally tough and bounce back. And it's not really things they haven't heard before, but it's kind of like, here's some guys that did it, tried to figure it out, and we're more of validating, you know, what their coaches are telling them now, that you got to find out what keeps you focused and you know, through the ups and downs, you know, how you keep battling. So we talked a lot about mental approach, mental toughness.
So as much as things change, as much as they stay the same, right? And the conversation surrounding hitting for you, when you mentioned that mental part, I'm wondering with these guys, is there much of the mechanical part of this? I know we talk about them dealing with high velocity. Is there differences in maybe conversations you were having during your career with hitting compared to maybe what you're hearing today?
Well, yeah, there's different philosophies for sure, and I'm not really up to date on all the, you know, there's definitely differences. Pitching is a lot different now, and I told these kids that there's a lot of things that are a lot tougher about hitting in your generation. We had some things, and we had some hard throwers, but there's more. And we, you know, as far as hitting is concerned, sometimes the guys that didn't throw hard were a nightmare too, just because they knew how to change speeds and locate it. But there's more hard throwers now, and I think the main difference that makes it tougher now is typically you face 2 or 3 guys a night. And you know, I shared a story with him about Don Sutton. He told me this twice in spring training. Don Sutton threw 9 innings, complete games. And seriously, because he said that, you know, that's what you were getting ready for. You had to figure out how to pitch 9, and he did it in spring training. My point is, it's just a different game.
Yeah.
You're facing 3, more than likely 3, sometimes 4 and 5. So different pitchers. That's very tough to do. So they got some tough things that they're, you know, that I'm not really familiar with. But getting back to your point, yeah, some things are the same. You got to figure out how to calm yourself down, regroup, you know, pitch to pitch. It's a very challenging thing. They make it look easy, but and we just threw someone out at second. Is that Drake?
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Get another look at this throw here from Drake Baldwin. I mean, you've seen a lot of rookies come up in your time. What jumped out to you about Drake's season last year?
Well, so much, but his swing. I mean, you know, catching's tough. Like, you know, I was drafted as a catcher, and you know, they used to tell us back in our day, you know, just catch, don't worry about what you hit. You know, but if you can catch and hit like Drake can. I just love to watch him play. But, yeah, obviously his swing is very consistent, and what a great year he had last year.
Well, this was interesting, as we just saw here with Matt Olson going over to get this ball, which means, Murph, no confidence in the pitchers as athletes. And Chris Sale was all over that one. He was ready, but there was nobody at first to throw that to. An interesting one, but it's spring training and kind of the way that things go. You mentioned, it's fascinating to hear Don Sutton throwing 9 innings multiple times in a spring training game. You get any different feel? Because it does feel like guys are a little bit more cognizant, just in general. Hitters and pitchers, pace yourself in spring. Maybe a little bit more. Does that feel different to you compared to your generation as far as the attitude towards spring?
No, I think it's kind of the same. You know, first few weeks, it's a little different now with the WBC, but it's generally the same. Once you make the club, you can kind of set your own pace. You know, Bobby, Joe Torre, once I got established, they just would talk to us how many at-bats you want today, and then the last couple of weeks you start tuning it up and getting 3 to 4 at-bats a night or a day. And so I think it's kind of the same. I think these guys do a lot more than we ever did in my generation during the offseason, especially.
Yeah.
They're hitting year-round, lifting year-round, and sometimes it took us, you know, Bob Horner was the only guy I played with that was ready to go from day one, spring training. That's just kind of swing he had. But it took me a couple of weeks till I felt comfortable. I mean, we started working out, obviously, but, you know, not like these kids here. They're ready to go, and you know, it's just impressive to be around them really close, because I see a lot of games, and I'm at the ballpark a few times a year, but being able to be right next to the cage, watch them take BP and watch them work, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And you also wonder, too, sometimes we got a lot of injuries these days, too. Like, which is the better way to kind of pace yourself, come in like you're talking about from your generation? These guys are going hard. They're super talented, but we also got more IL time than we ever have. I want to get your thoughts on ABS this year. We're going to get this automated ball strike system. You're going to be allowed to challenge a strike, and a computer's going to tell you yes or no. I'm envious of this generation for a lot of reasons. I'm curious if you're envious of that. Do you wish you had ABS when you were playing?
Wow, that's a great guy. You know, I mean, man, I was such a free swinger. I'd be like, yeah, that's. I don't know if that was a strike or a ball. What do you guys think? But I love it. You know, here's the deal on this replay. As long as someone got a hit there. As long as it's quick, and it seems like they're doing it quick. You know, it doesn't take a lot of time and slow the flow of the game down. I think regular replay slows it down a little bit, but they're getting better and better. I think they're shrinking the time. Is that correct? Of the time you have to appeal a regular replay, but at ABS, as long as it's quick, and you know, I think it's an advantage for the hitters. I mean, the pitcher's got to throw it in that little box, and that strike zone seems to be shrinking. So that's an advantage to the hitters.
Yeah, players get about 2 seconds or so to challenge a ball or a strike this year.
Yeah,
that's the general rule.
It has to be kind of instantaneous, is relatively. Yeah. I mean, as long as it doesn't slow the flow of the game, I think umpires will appreciate it, and it'll be fun to see what happens. Especially if, you know, later innings you got 2, you want to check. You know, you know, in the 9th inning it'll just be interesting if you still have 2 left. And how you use them, if there's any strategy to it. Do you want to appeal it or not? If you lose it, then you're not going to have it. Because if you lose one as a hitter, your pitcher's only going to have 1, right? I mean, is that correct?
Yeah, it's team-wide.
Twice, yeah.
So what if your hitters appeal 2, and you're going into the 9th, and they lost both of them? You're going into the 9th with your closer without an appeal. So it's, you know, I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting. You may have to think about what you're doing instead of just instantaneously going. I don't know. It'll be fun to watch, I think, but somebody scored.
Yeah, a little sac fly to put the Blue Jays up 1-0. We got to get the tail of the tape here. It's not just that you're a grandfather. You are a super grandfather. As far as I'm concerned, fill Braves fans in on what the latest roster total is for Dale Murphy.
Well, as Braves fans know, we had 8 kids, and we got 20 grandkids, and we got 3 on the way.
My goodness.
It's the best thing. Nance and I are having so much fun with our grandkids. And we got great kids and great grandkids, and I'm not a great grandfather yet. I wanted to make that clear.
Sorry, yeah, just
not
a super
yet.
grandfather.
I'm not too far away from that either. Super grand. I'll take that. But yeah, it's a blast. I mean, there's nothing like being a grandpa.
Are you the grandpa that's spoiling the kids? Are you telling them old
Totally.
stories? Are they asking questions? Are they to the point with, you mentioned your oldest grandchild is 18. Are they asking Dale Murphy stories from your heyday?
Yeah, it's kind of fun once they kind of put it all together and go, wait, you know, Papa used to do what? That's him. So, you know, especially when we go to a game in Atlanta, it's a lot of fun, and you can kind of see it dawn on them, and you know, it's fun. I'm very, very grateful. Like I said, we got great kids and great grandkids. We're really thankful. Really thankful.
Well, Murph, we're thankful to you. It's always a fun time at spring training, but when you show up, those smiles get even wider. So thanks for spending some time with us. And
thanks, guys.
Good luck to the Cougars in March Madness, by the way.
Yeah, should be fun. Should be fun. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great time of year, spring training, March Madness, a lot of fun. Yeah, I wish I could stay here the whole time, but I'll be gone in a few days. But I appreciate Walt and the Braves having me down. A lot of fun.
Well, Murph, it's our pleasure. Thanks again. Look forward to seeing you the rest of the week.
Go get them.
Well, for a generation of Braves fans, number 10 in Crazy Train was the peak of Braves baseball. Chipper Jones down here at spring training at Cool Today Park, and just so many highlights. The 95 World Series, an MVP, and one of the best curtain calls in Atlanta Braves history. Thrilled to be joined by the one and only Chipper Jones. And Chipper, I got to start with this. Yesterday, Braves put up 9 runs offensively. Little Birdie told me in the video room that you might have taken some credit for that.
I mean, I can't think it's a coincidence that, you know, I get down here and we start barreling balls like crazy. No, Timmy and Darnell have done a great job. These boys have come out of the gate swinging the bats pretty good this spring. So yesterday was just a continuation of that.
So fill us in on a little bit on the role, right? Fans always, of course, wanting you to be around, and we understand the demands on your time. What is the role for Chipper Jones here in 2026?
Yeah, just a third set of eyes, basically a consultant. You know, last year I really felt conscious of letting Tim do his job and not feeling like I was kind of, you know, looking over his shoulder all the time. So I purposefully stayed away. But that's changed now. We've got a good working relationship. Add Darnell Coles to the mix. And, yeah, I mean, these guys all have my phone number. They can, you know, if they need a third set of eyes to come look at them, I'm certainly there for them. I will be around a little more this year, I can promise.
So what do you find maybe most satisfying, or where you find the most work, right? We were just talking to Murph about the mental conversations that are had and then the mechanical conversations. Is there one more than another that you find yourself kind of dealing with the guys?
For me personally, I think it's up to Tim and Darnell, because from a fundamental mechanical standpoint, for them to be, you know, the ones that are making those adjustments, because they're with them every single day. One thing you know, really harp on is the approach. Let's hunt pitches. Let's have a plan every time we go up there. You know, play to your strengths, and, you know, hang on for dear life with 2 strikes. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way it is. But the big thing, I think, is, you know, we struggled in 1-run games last year, and that's due to the fact that we didn't make enough contact. Guys on third, less than 2 outs. We didn't get runners over. You know, that stuff's kind of overlooked until you lose 33 ball games by 1 run.
And Chipper, I wanted to ask about Michael Harris's adjustment mid-season. Spring training is normally a time where you feel like guys will dive into mechanics, but how hard is it to pull that off in the middle of a season?
Yeah, it's really tough, but I think we, you know, at some point in our careers offensively, we hit rock bottom, and we've got to go back to square one. And unfortunately, he got to that point last year. I've always wanted to, you know, we've always talked about trying to get his hands a little higher so that he comes and maybe gets on plane a little more than normal. He was dumping his barrel a little bit, and thus he was behind a lot of pitches, and you saw that he got immediate results out of that adjustment. And we're just going to try and build upon that this spring.
When you see that during the course of the season, I mean, obviously you've done amazing things on the field, but this is kind of that consultant coaching role. Man, is there the same kind of joy you get when you mentioned it? You saw some things, right? And you're like, man, he finally gets there, and we saw those results second half were amazing. How does it make a guy like you feel when you see that?
Yeah, it's kind of my dad was a school teacher, and you know, he always talked about the light bulb coming on, and there's nothing like going into the cage and working with these guys one-on-one and having them go out to second base, you know, be standing to second base after a double, and you can see the light bulb has come on, and that's an awfully gratifying feeling for a coach.
Yeah, no doubt. And then what about as far as when you get down here, what you've seen and watching the games? Is there anybody that you've kind of looked at and said, well, I'd like to get in a conversation with that guy, or impressed with some things that you see? Has there been any player that maybe you've identified that you look forward to talking with a little bit?
Yeah, there's, you know, I mean, the guys who have been here, been around me for a long time, I kind of let them do their things. It's mostly the new guys that come in and they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and full of questions and whatnot. You know, I'd love to see Mike Yastrzemski, you know, getting to talk with him, Mauricio Dubon, you know, I mean, all the new guys, they want to come in and ask those questions. So I'm basically offering them this spring everything that I offered the older guys in springs past.
Yeah, so when you get some of these kids, especially maybe draft picks from last year or the year before, I imagine they're all saying the same thing, right? They were Chipper Jones fans growing up, man. Does that ever get old? Does it ever make you feel old?
No. Well, yeah, that part I could live with, but it never gets old from the standpoint of you're trying to lend a little bit of yourself to the next generation of Braves. You're trying to make them better. And these guys, to their credit, man, they are sponges. They beat us to the ballpark in the mornings. They're working in the cages to try and make themselves a better ball player, asking the right questions, talking about approach and whatnot. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to interact with the new guys.
Feels like every time we talk hitting with you, Chipper, you talk about approach. And I'm curious, in today's game with some of the fastball velocities we see, if you were stepping in the box, is there a situation where you would come off the fastball nowadays?
Well, a lot of that is situation dependent. You know, a lot of it is repertoire dependent based on what that pitcher's best pitch is. I think, you know, and at bat is a lot like taking a test. You know if you're prepared for that test when you walk into that classroom, just like you know you're prepared for each and every pitch that guy's got when you step in the box. My main concern is, okay, what's his best pitch? You know, if it is, you know, a plus changeup, you know at some point when the rubber meets the road, you're going to see that pitch, so you need to be sitting on it. And, you know, I want them to sit on a specific pitch, not sit on hunt a specific pitch each and every pitch. And that's part of being a professional hitter is going out and trying to make the adjustment before the pitcher does.
So the Atlanta Braves don't change your manager very often. It happened this offseason. Walt Weiss ends up getting the nod. People around here seem very excited. You know him pretty well. Give us a little perspective and maybe how you feel about Walt Weiss now being the next guy to lead this team.
It's been great because, you know, he's hit the ground running. He's been here for 8 years. He knows the amount of talent that's in this clubhouse. He knows what makes him tick, and there's no getting to know the ball club. You know, he already knows it in and out. Great guy, great teammate. He's been a great manager. His message has been clear up until this point. The expectations for this Atlanta Braves team, it doesn't change. You know, every year we expect to go out and win the division and give ourselves an opportunity in October. That hasn't changed.
Hey, last one for me, as far as obviously you played for, I think in a lot of our opinions, the greatest to ever do it in Bobby Cox. What is maybe that key you're looking for? Look at Walton, he seems ultra competitive. We talk about communication. What's maybe the thing you're looking for out of your manager that's really important? Yeah,
I just think consistency. You know, just be that same guy every day, whether you're on a 5-game winning streak or a 5-game losing streak. It sounds cliche, but to have that even-tempered guy every single day, not the guy that's going to be quiet and not say a word one day and then, you know, blowing the top off the clubhouse the next day. It's consistency, and Walt was that kind of player. You know, I mean, this is a long season and hopefully a successful one for us.
Chipper, we're thrilled we're going to be around a lot more this year. Looking forward to catching you up. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Does Riley have enough behind this? Miles Straw heading in. Dubon will test his arm as he heads home. The throw is way at the third base line. And now Matt Olson cuts the bag at third, and he'll slam on the brakes as that throw got through Heineman. But it's a sacrifice fly for Austin Riley, and we are tied. Dom Smith catapults one deep to right. Sayonara. And the Braves lead a 2-run homer from Dom Smith. 3-1 Atlanta.
You love to see the guy who comes in competing for a spot on this roster and now may have a legitimate chance to make it. To get to a go-to arm here in Varlin, and this is a good fastball up in the zone, 96 miles an hour, but Dom Smith gets the hands above it, the barrel to it, and a no-doubter out to right. One of them has been a fastball since 3-0.
3-2, stroked into center, racing back Harris. It's over his head. Takes one bounce and off the top of the fence. This will tie the game, a 2-run double.
There we go, challenge time.
Matt Olson, he's had that eagle eye.
Yeah, I think it was actually Toronto challenging this, right?
Yep. Unfortunately, that time. Yeah, he wants to challenge that one.
So I love this for Michael so much, just because, again, of the things that he's working on. I hope this goes his way. Good get out there.
Oh, man.
That was not what I was anticipating. I was thinking, like, hey, I need some Captain Crunch.
Dubon out to center. Lantigua can't make the play. And here comes Dom Smith rumbling around third. Wisely into third, and the Braves have the lead.
We've seen it quite a bit this spring that the Sun has.
Want to have it for the record. Today is Lennon Day, according to the front desk. Bounce with the right side, and that sneaks through. Wisely scores, and right behind him, John Hill, who pinch runs for Dubon, and it is now 6-3 Braves.
The ball is rare, so we'll obviously appreciate that.
Blue Jays are going to add a couple of runs here. First four base runners have reached in the seventh against Jacob Kroger, and a two-run double there from Cutter Coffey trims the Braves' lead to 1. Caught looking, he wants to challenge it.
Standing there with confidence like this, that bat is still going. It was a two-seam fastball that came back and caught the corner. That's a pitcher's pitch and a good one.
And he says, shoot. And English clobbers one deep left center, and it is off the top of the wall. It will clear the bases. A 3-run double for Tristan English.
Vargas. Bring him. Challenge.
Ooh, and it's going to have a challenge. You could have the game ended here on a challenge.
I mean, is this history? Are we looking at spring training history right here, Wiley? Way go.
Ball game upon review, and the Braves beat the Blue Jays 9-5.
Today was an easier day to kind of focus on just kind of what I need to do with my lower half, and just working on pitch shapes. That first inning I threw a slider where it just kind of spun out. So really just kind of focusing on where I need to be and how to get there. I think putting yourself into kind of high leverage situations. I know it's spring training. I know that they're all day games and whatever. But I still like practicing being intense and having to forcing myself to make pitches. Right, like bases loaded. There's nowhere to put anybody, so you kind of forced to throw strikes. Even some of the hits that you got to deal with those kind of things. So I thought Baldy did a good job. Hef with my visit of the century right there. Told him not to waste those. He's going to keep those in his back pocket. But no, today was good. Went out to the bullpen, threw a little extra just to kind of get more bulk, and get ready for the next one. It was kind of an easy transition. You have guys that have been around the game. This isn't his first time being a pitching coach. He's not coming in here with wide eyes. He understands what we need, and again, having played this game, he's kind of been through it. So. Everything. He's an open book. You can talk to him about anything. You can approach him at any time. So obviously it's been great.
My only goals today were just to raise the intensity a little bit consistently, and then just compete pitch to pitch. I mean, last week I felt like it made sense to just try to be in the strike zone, not really worry about anything else, and then start to compete a little bit more this time. So I felt like I had a little bit more behind the ball. Thought the shapes were a little inconsistent, fastballs including, but from what I saw, and just watching the hitters and stuff, but get in the zone a little bit more, probably make some different pitch selection decisions in the season than we would today. But all in all, I think it's a good step. I think, very unique situation there where you'd go back out after sucking for an inning and you get a chance to, compete again. And I'm coming out of the pen. It's a lot of different circumstances that I think you lean into it and you accept the challenge a little bit, and it's good for you this early in the season. So, I think definitely didn't execute everything in that last inning, but felt like I made some more adjustments just to get a 1-2-3 inning after that second inning for me was good.